Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and I'm just about done with my Huawei P30 Pro review video, so you can expect that later this week actually. But in the meantime, as you guys know, I also like to check out the more budget style phones as opposed to only flagship phones. So we are going to unbox the Moto G7 Power. And the main selling point of the G7 Power is just that, the power that it actually has, because it has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery inside of it. And Motorola says you can get up to 3 days of battery life with just this phone. Now I did also mention it is a budget device. This will run you $250, so nowhere near those flagship prices. So let's go ahead and open this up, show you real quick what comes in the box, and check out the Moto G7 Power. Let's get started. I have to say, last year Motorola did a very good job hitting the budget market, and it looks like they're going to do so with their G7 series. There's a couple other models. I can link to them down below, but wanted to check out the Power model because, of course, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, that's pretty big. Curious to see how thick this phone actually is, and we're going to set the phone to the side for just a second while we check out what else comes in the box. Opening it on up, looks like there's booklets in there. We do have our AC adapter, USB Type A, and then of course we do have our charging cable, which is USB Type A to USB Type C. Opening this up, looks like all we really have is just some readmes, getting started guide, and a SIM ejection tool. So that's it. No extras, no case, no headphones, anything like that. Just pretty much the charging cable and the phone. Let's move on what you all came to see. Now in terms of specs, this has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 632 processor, also coupled with 3 gigs of RAM. I kind of wish there was a 4 gig of RAM model, but there isn't, but I believe one of the G7 models does have that. 32 gigs of internal storage. However, on the left side here, that SIM card slot is also an expandable micro SD card slot. So don't let 32 gigs of internal storage deter you, because you can actually expand it. Taking a look at the bottom of the phone, USB-C slot with a microphone. Moving along to the right side is where our volume rockers and power button is. Power button has some texture to it, as you can kind of see as the light hits it, so you can kind of tell the difference between the two buttons. Up at the top, yes, that is a headphone jack. I know you don't see those very often, but this still does have one. Another microphone, and like I already mentioned, SIM card slot, micro SD card. On the back, just a single 12 megapixel camera. You have your Motorola logo right there. Pretty cool blue color. Actually, I'm a fan. Up towards the front, at the top, you will see a notch. So those are still included in 2019. And then of course, here's a look at the bottom. Now the display itself is a 6.2-inch LCD display at 720p with an aspect ratio of 19:9. Now I will go ahead and run through this setup process. I'm only going to talk about anything that is noteworthy. Now you remember that logo I mentioned on the back? That is actually a fingerprint scanner as well. So let's go ahead and find that sensor, set our finger down, and actually start to register our fingerprint, which is in a very good spot. I have to say my pointer finger actually rests on it very comfortably, so it shouldn't be that difficult to actually unlock. I'm literally just lifting up my finger, setting it back down. Fingerprint is added. We can add another if you'd like to, but I'm going to skip through for now. All right, and we are all done on the home screen. I will say after holding this phone, it does feel a little bit thicker than other phones I have been using. Of course, that 5,000 milliamp hour battery does take up some space in the phone. Now, as I always do in my unboxings, I'd like to go into settings, go down to storage. You will see 10.48 gigs is used out of the 32 gigs out of the box, so 33%. So if we go ahead and swipe up, looks like there really isn't any bloatware apps, anything like that. Let's quickly test out that fingerprint scanner. So let's go ahead and set our finger down. Looks like it unlocked the phone right away with the lock screen up. Let's go ahead and set it down. Unlocks it pretty much instantly, so extremely quick. Of course, not having an in-display fingerprint scanner, just the back hardware one, generally will mean it's going to be a little bit more accurate and a little bit quicker as well at the moment, until the in-display fingerprint technology gets a little bit better. Also, I totally just realized there's no speaker down at the bottom of this phone. The only speaker is actually in the earpiece right here, and that is where the sound is coming out of. I would say initial impression is that it gets fairly loud for a single speaker. It will be pointing towards you, which will help. Quality-wise seemed below average. We will see though. I'll need to do a little bit more testing on the single speaker. Another plus of this phone is that it actually runs Android 9 Pie out of the box, which is the latest OS from Google, and Motorola has done a very good job at actually pretty much having a stock Android experience with a couple added extras. Going into system, there are some gestures here. Swipe fingerprint for notifications, which I always love to turn on. It's really great holding your phone comfortably and being able to pull down that notification tray. And of course, I don't even have to touch the display because I'm just swiping down and up on that fingerprint scanner. One thing they generally do add is a Moto section within settings, and they have Moto Actions and Moto Display. So let's go into Moto Display. Basically interact with notifications when your display is off. One thing is that, of course, it is an LCD panel, so it will need to light up completely. There's with always on displays, it's better with AMOLED, of course, with the blacks. Now, attentive display, which is essentially when you're looking at the screen, it's not going to dim or go to sleep while you're looking at it, so you can turn that on if you'd like it. Motorola also has Moto Actions, which adds a lot of features. So lift to unlock basically is just a face unlock, which you can enable if you'd like to add that. Media controls use the volume keys to change tracks when the screen is off. Editor, one button navigation, which I definitely recommend trying out. It's actually pretty cool how it works. Try it out. You tap to go home, swipe left to go back, right for the previous app, up for recent apps, and just press and hold to launch your Google Assistant. So there's actually a lot of cool features with this one. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, of course. You're gonna have to say, oh, swipe up to go there, or if I swipe to the right, it will actually quick swap between apps. And nice little animation there, actually. It's a little slow for my liking, but it's still cool how they added their own kind of custom animation to it to make it look more fluid. Down at the bottom, you do have some more swipe to shrink, pick up to silence, flip for D&D, quick capture, or fast flashlight, which where if you chop twice, it will turn on that flashlight, which I use all the time on Moto phones. So as you can see, pretty much all of these are extremely useful additions to that stock Android experience. The final thing I want to show off is going into the camera app for the first time. Let's go ahead and snap some pictures. You'll see there's a manual mode right off the bat. Swipe to the right to open modes. And here's all of your different modes. You do have portrait, cinematograph, panorama, slow motion, a time-lapse mode as well. So there's a lot of different ones where you can have 4x time-lapse, 8, 16, all the way up to 32. Now, I just want to go ahead and snap a couple quick pictures. Whoa, that was pretty loud. Anyways, seems like it's actually pretty snappy, shutter speed wise. So not too bad in terms of that, but overall it looks like there's a bunch of different modes. YouTube Live, I don't know if you actually plan on using that very much. I also want to jump into settings and go to video size. You can actually shoot in 4K, 30 FPS if you'd like to on this budget style phone. So overall, that's just about everything I want to cover for the Moto G7 Power. I'll link to it down below. Like I said, a little bit thicker than you might be used to. However, that 5,000 milliamp hour battery definitely makes up for it, along with a headphone jack as well. So this is hitting a lot of points for a lot of people, especially with that price point it's at. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to click that thumbs up button. Be sure to drop a comment. Let me know what you think as well. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.